Hi, and welcome to The Juice. Hi, and welcome to The Juice. Today's featured guest is former professional OHL Ottawa 67s goaltender Chuck Thuss. Chuck is the owner of Compassionate Connection, and Chuck can talk the talk because he's walked the walk by overcoming major anxiety that almost cost him his life. His coaching expertise has landed him on the international hockey stage, serving as the head coach and co-head coach for Team USA at the World Games. Under his leadership and support, he guided Team USA to bronze and 5 gold medal victories. Chuck is here today to share his journey with us. Hi, Chuck. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for doing this.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the invite.
So are you up for a game?
I am. I am.
So I'm going to put a timer on for 60 seconds, and I'm going to rapid fire ask you all these questions.
All right.
And if you answer them all in 60 seconds, you will be a winner, which means that I will donate to your favorite charity.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, awesome. So let me get the timer going. Okay. Favorite
This
juice.
is like being in a hockey game again. There's a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. You ready to start?
I am.
Awesome. Okay, so what's your favorite juice?
Orange.
Okay. Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
Initiate conversation or wait to be spoken with?
Initiate.
Money or free time?
Free time.
What do you wish you knew more of?
Peace of mind.
That's a good one. Laundry or dishes?
Laundry.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Hard shell or soft shell tacos?
Soft.
Biggest pet peeve?
People that can't make a decision.
Favorite movie?
Rudy.
Text or call?
Ooh, call.
Vacation or staycation?
Vacation.
Okay. Superman or Batman?
Superman.
Introvert or extrovert?
Extrovert.
Sweater or hoodie?
Hoodie. Favorite
color?
Purple.
Dress up or dress down?
Dress up.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
All right, you won. So where am I sending the donation?
Probably to like the Mental Health Association would be wonderful. Okay, either that or disabled veterans, one of the two.
Okay, so we're going to get started with the questions so people can get to know you and your impact.
Wonderful.
So what gets you up in the morning? What's your big why?
Supporting other people. I love to support other people because it's tremendously fulfilling for me. That's where I get my reward, is when I have the opportunity to make somebody else's life better. I just think the world needs people to make it a better place, especially right now with everything that's going on.
I 100% agree. I'm going to love this interview, I can tell. What is the Compassionate Connection and what made you start it?
It is my speaking and coaching business. And I call it a business only because I like to eat and I like to, make a living doing it. But it is a coaching and speaking business that I started back in 2016. After a long 8-year journey, after almost taking my life. And I say 8 years because it was 8 years after that incident that I was actually able to speak about it. I didn't tell my parents. The only one that knew about it was my wife. My kids to this day know very, very little about it. But I'm able to speak freely about it now. They're just getting to an age probably that I can speak to them about it and they'll understand. And so after I was going through this real strong battle with anxiety and depression and really not wanting to continue on and living, I came within a couple hundred yards of ramming my Yukon into a guardrail at 85 miles an hour. And God stopped me from doing it. And I pulled over and I cried and I cried and I cried. And I reached into my wallet and I pulled out a business card that my mother had given me like 4 years ago prior to this and said, if you ever need help, call this lady. Had no idea who she was. She didn't know who I was. I called her crying and just said, I need your help because I don't want to live anymore. And so as we progress through, and I'll fast forward a little bit 8 years later, because I'm sure we'll talk about all of that at some point, but 8 years later, I finally found some comfort in me and what I had gone through. And I was kind of in a much more stable place and started to talk to some people at my alma mater and asking how I could reach back and help student athletes that may be going through what I went through. And I have kind of a unique hockey story as well. And when I talked to the assistant athletic director, he was like, Chuck, he's like, you just have no idea the impact you would have. So I started doing my research as I talked about which direction I wanted to go and how I would be most impactful, or I felt I could be. And life coaching and relationship and spiritual coaching was the avenue that I took, because I wanted to focus on here and now. What can we do right now to make sure that the next moment is better? And so that's what I did. And I just kind of followed my heart with the name, and I wanted to touch people's hearts. And so and I wanted to have heart connection with all of my clients. And so the Compassionate Connection was born.
And you're not even coaching me, and I already feel the heart connection. So imagine what your coaching clients must feel, because it's there. It's you.
I always found myself to be different. Like I was always kind of, when the guys were all together, I wasn't the guy leading the pack. I was, and trying to impress all the girls. I was the guy in the back, even though, and people always just like, you're weird. You're just different. And I'm like, okay, so after a while, I guess you start to believe it. And I always found that I had maybe a little bit of a different perspective on life than a lot of people. I don't like to worry about things anymore. I used to. But just, I guess maybe being told enough that you're weird or you're different, it finally just got me, and I believed it. Unfortunately,
I'll tell you, I'm an outlier myself, and I'm different, and I know how that can feel. But now, when people tell me that I'm different, I love it, because I don't want to be like everyone else.
I don't either.
Perfect.
I don't want to be
30 when we're younger. We don't have that confidence and that strength, so it's hard.
Yes, and I relish that I'm different. I cherish it, and sometimes even with my kids, I try to be different, so that they just. One day they'll appreciate that dad was a little quirky and a little different. And I'm sure
it normalizes it for them to be different and allows them to be who they are, which is a beautiful thing. It's a gift you give them. What do you like about yourself?
I love that I can relate to people. I understand both sides of an argument or a discussion. I have my beliefs. I like that I'm passionate. I love the fact that I love to support people. And I just, I guess I just like the person that I'm evolving into every day, because I'm completely a work in progress. And it's been quite a work. So
quite a journey, but I love that you could come up with several things you like about yourself. Sometimes I ask that question, I can't come up with one thing. And you were in such a dark place. The fact that you're on this side and can say things you like, that's beautiful.
Well, thank you. Because if you'd have asked me that back in 2008, I'd have said absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and we're going to get there. So you had a strong hockey career, for those of the viewers that don't know that. And how did having anxiety affect your hockey career?
Well, it was probably a little bit of a good and a bad. Okay. The good part of it was I always over-prepared. To the nth degree, and I never ever felt like I was prepared enough. But it was always one more, like being a goalie, it was always one more shot. I'm going to be, I need one more drill, I need to prepare a little more, because I was always anxious to make sure that I was most fully prepared. Mm-hmm. And it probably played against me, because I used to get sick before every game that I played, and it used to drain me. And I don't know that I ever really 100% got to enjoy playing the game, because I was always anxious during the game to make sure that I was making the next save, that I was making the right play. And
at the time, did you know it was anxiety, or?
I had no idea. Because I look back now, and I was like that as a kid growing up, had no idea. Was like that in college when I went to classes to take a test. And back in that time, in the early to mid 90s, people weren't talking about it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't something like, oh, hey, you may have a little anxiety. No, sweep it under the rug and go. And we'll figure it out, because it must be something else.
And now, if you don't have anxiety, you're the outlier. Everyone has it, and everyone talks about it, which is better than where we were.
Absolutely. And it's becoming much more accepted. And for the longest time, I didn't want to tell anybody because everybody used to see me as this strong guy and, this guy that can just go after and get his and turn his dreams into reality. And then when they realize all the things that I've dealt with in order, even though I've been doing all that, they're kind of in awe.
Well,
And I still deal with it today.
Right. It's not like it's gone. It's like you have better tools to work with it. My next question, it just even breaks my heart to ask it. It's like very painful for me to even think about anyone and someone I'm talking to thinking of doing this. But what was the breaking point that made you even contemplate committing suicide?
I really didn't see any way out. I was so full of anxiety every minute of every day. Some days I couldn't get out of bed. Some days I could. Some days I couldn't. I really didn't eat. It got to the point that I was running a business at the same time and I didn't even know if I should pay the power bill. Like I was just so consumed with anxiety. And when the anxiety got that far along, the depression was probably even more so. Because I just couldn't function. I couldn't think straight. And it was really a fact that I just did not see any other way out. And I looked at that guardrail and I was like, it would be so great to be done with this because I can't keep doing this. And I was crying as I'm putting my foot on the gas. I'm bawling my eyes out, driving down the interstate. And all of a sudden it was just like, okay, God told me you can't do this. And so I literally stopped about 200 yards short, pulled over and just cried and cried and cried. And when I called the lady that I was telling you about, I said, I don't want to live anymore. And she says, you're going to be okay. And I was like, the hell I am.
What? Is this who my mom told me to call?
I'm like, I don't think so, but I'll believe you because I don't have a better answer. And we still talk all the time now.
Oh my gosh,
we're just so special of friends, and we talk life. And she often will say, remember where you were, and remember where you are now, and I'm so proud of you. So she's a wonderful lady.
Well, I want to know how you did it, and then also what advice you'd. A lot of my followers and viewers suffer from anxiety, so what advice you'd give to people?
I think the biggest thing is to learn to live in the moment. The only thing that we can control is right here, right now, where we are. We can't control this afternoon. We can't control tonight. We can't control tomorrow. The only thing we can do is control right here and right now. And being the mindfulness of being in the moment. And everybody's like, oh, I can do that. It's more difficult than it sounds. And it's far more powerful than you can imagine. Because even now I find when anxiety comes back, I find myself planning and living, extended out, further way out down the road. And I have to remind myself, okay, I'm not there. There's a lot that can happen between now and then. It's Tuesday and let's do this right now, right here, right now. And if we take care of this moment, every moment after that, they will all continue to take care of themselves.
And I think it's so much about getting to where you notice yourself, leaving the present moment and bringing yourself back.
100%. Because it's very easy. I've trained myself to know, and how did I do it? I don't know that I have the particular answer other than really being mindful of where my thoughts were and really being present with where my thoughts were. And I think that a lot of people go through life and they just kind of function and they just kind of go through every day and they go to work, they eat lunch, they go back to work, they come home, they do the dishes, they make dinner, they do all that. And all of a sudden the day's over and they go to bed and they do it again. But I try to be very in the moment to maximize the moment as well, whatever that means. Because sometimes maximizing the moment can mean I'm doing absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. But I think once you start to be conscious of your thoughts, you will realize just what you're feeding yourself and exactly why you're feeling the way you're feeling and why your life may be the way it is, good or bad.
I think you said it. I was going to tap into consciousness, and it's like getting off of the hamster wheel, not living on autopilot, and becoming conscious of the things, which means slowing down and noticing and witnessing.
Yes.
And observing.
Observing. And people always say, slow down and smell the roses. But it really is true, because I learned, and almost the hard way, I guess, but we only have one opportunity to live today, or this moment that we're living. How do we want to live it?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easy to answer that, and sometimes it's hard. Not every decision is easy. I'm not going to tell you they are, because somebody that says they are, they're not telling you the truth, in my opinion. But you only get to go through this journey as the people that we are one time. And if you're mindful about it, it can be an unbelievable journey. But if you're not, you get to the end of it and you're just kind of like, wow,
how did I get here? What just happened?
What just happened? And you look back and you're like, man, if I could do that again, I would do this, this, and this. But I think if you're mindful, you have a lot less of that. Not that it's gone totally, but you'll have a lot less, because you are maximizing every moment that you have.
And I think it's important for people to know that it's never too late to make the shift. It doesn't matter
100%.
if it's 80, 90, 20, 40, and it's a process. It's an evolution.
Yes, because ultimately,
I agree. I mean, if you're not in alignment with your soul, but most people don't even know their soul, they're so out of touch.
They're so out of touch. And I really, I'm not going to say that I was, Pam, but I think I just lost my way. And my goal was to be a professional hockey player. And everybody told me, you come from a town of 480 people, you play in a town that's, got 2,000 people. How are you going to do it? I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And they're like, okay, whatever, and I did, while I didn't achieve my ultimate goal of playing in the National Hockey League, I did play 8 years professional, and I'm very proud of that.
You should be. That's an amazing accomplishment. And I think you're right. Like, I love what you said at the beginning. It's not that you didn't have a soul or you weren't in touch with it. You lost your way and you got back to yourself. And that's where we all are. We're finding our way back to home. To home.
And once you find out, and I think probably, going back a little bit too about, you said, what do I like about myself now? I'm comfortable with who I am. And I think I've found my way home. And I now know it's more important to feed my soul than to feed the outer things in life. Not that I don't like to have a good time. I'm not saying
nothing wrong with that, as long as your core is first, the foundation is there.
Yes, taking care of me is number one.
Yep.
And because the lady that saved my life, and her name is Sheila.
Sheila.
The first thing that Sheila taught me is, or one of the first things was 2/3 in, 1/3 out. And I was like, what? And she's like, you have to feed yourself 2/3, and then you have 1/3 to feed everybody else. She says, because let me ask you. She used to say, if you don't have a full cup, you can't give anything to anybody else. And she says, but society always tells you give, 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 give. She says, I'm going to change that and tell you to take care of yourself first, so that you always have enough to give others. And
Sheila speaks my language.
and when you do that, life just becomes a whole lot better. Yes.
So, who has been the biggest influence in your life?
I would have to say between my parents, but probably my friend Sheila as well. She has really been able to hold my hand and help me find my way home. And she's brought out a lot of things in me that I didn't know that were there. So that's been really special as well.
What's your favorite tools, podcasts, books that have helped you along your wellness journey?
Probably one of my favorites was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. Mm-hmm. That's one of the first. Yeah, that's one of my first ones. And then I've really gotten to like The Untethered Soul.
Ooh, I love Michael Singer.
Yeah. So that's another one of my favorites. I'm reading a really good one right now, and I say it's simple, but it's deep and it's very impactful. It's by Joel Osteen, The Power of I Am.
I've heard his books are fantastic. I haven't read them yet.
It's really amazing, and it reinforces something that you probably already know, I already know, is how powerful the words are that follow the words I am. Mm-hmm. And people say, oh, I am stupid. I am, and I'm going to cancel that. I am fat. I am this. I am, and all you do is reinforce that. So it just brings more of that to you. And if you would just spend more time saying, I am wonderful, I am smart, I am blessed, I am, and watch how it changes your life.
It's what you attract. You open your world up to bring more of that in.
It just, the floodgates open.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you that, you're not going to be tested, because you are. That the universe has its way of making sure, is this really what you want? And when you say yes, and all of a sudden it's like, okay. But it's those are two of my favorites.
All right. What's your greatest accomplishment?
I definitely would say finding my way home and finding out who I am and why I'm here has been a huge accomplishment for me. But when I was in college, I was a walk-on at Miami University for the varsity hockey team. And, everybody has dreams of playing NCAA hockey, or I did. A lot of kids do. And when I got there, I thought, this is great. I'm going to be a Division I goalie, blah, blah, blah. This is, I got the world right here in my hand. Like, it doesn't get any better. Well, my first year I couldn't play because I was ineligible, but my second year I was part of the varsity hockey team. After my sophomore year, I actually got cut. And I wasn't quite smart enough to figure out that the coach was cutting me. So I came back my junior year and I didn't get to play varsity, but 6 practices all year. I played on the junior varsity team. Well, after my junior year, we had a goalie that graduated, and they were looking for somebody that could step in and at least be a backup to the guy that was on a full scholarship. And the goalie coach at the time, Mitch Korn, who's been in the NHL now for, I think, 28 years or something like that, he grabbed me and he said, hey, he says, I'd love to work with you over the summer to see if we can get you where you need to be to at least be a backup on the varsity team. It's like, okay, that sounds cool. We can do that.
Yeah.
So we did. We worked hard, and I worked my butt off all summer. Was invited to training camp, which I was ecstatic about because I wasn't invited my junior year. And I made the varsity team as the backup goalie clear out of camp. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Well, little did I know that 4 games in, I think it was game 5 of the year, we were in Bowling Green and we were getting beat pretty badly in the third period. And the coach looked at me with 10 minutes left. He says, let's go, Chuck, you're in. I looked at him. He says, yeah, you're in. Let's go. I was like, okay. I actually stood on the ice at Bowling Green University and cried when I was standing in the net. and my best friend on the hockey team at the time comes back to me, puts his arm around me, and I looked at him and said, Millsy, I did it. I've played in a game. He says, this is just the beginning. Let's go. He taps my pads and he skates off. I'm thinking, are you nuts? I've waited over 3 years to get to this point to play 10 minutes. And you're telling me this is just the beginning? Like I'm ecstatic just playing these 10 minutes. So I played, they didn't score. Everything went well. The next game, the other goalie started again and we got beat. Well, then we're playing Saturday night against Ohio State and the coach comes in and he says, Chuck, you're going to start tonight. Oh, all right. I'm thinking, I got 10 minutes and now I'm getting to start a game. Oh, this is kind of cool. Well, it worked out that I played every game the rest of the year except for one.
Oh my gosh.
And I won all kinds of awards. I was all CCHA. I was the goalie of the year. I was our team MVP. And then it got capped off, and I get a little sentimental with this sometimes, so I apologize, but it got capped off with being named the first team All-American at Miami University for hockey.
Oh my gosh.
And so
that's amazing. So you started that new trend?
Yeah. So every time I go back to campus, when I'm back watching hockey or whatever, because I now work with our hockey team, I get to see that plaque on the wall, and it's the first one on the wall, and I just kind of grimace and smile a little bit, and
the pride.
It does make me feel good, and it just reminds me of that life is a journey, and if you work and stay focused and believe in yourself, you can achieve whatever you want.
And anything is possible. So if you could give your former self one piece of advice that you wish you knew then, what would it be?
Embrace who you are, because God made you who you are for a reason. And we are all individually special, however he made us. And we contribute. We all have a piece that we play in the bigger picture, and embrace the piece that you play.
Own it.
Own it and love it. Because we're all uniquely special.
What are some of your favorite wellness tips or regimens that you can share with the viewers?
people always think, even with some of the people that I work with now, I try to encourage meditation, and only because we live in such a fast world. Everything is right here, right now. It's instant. And I always encourage them to just step back and get silent and just slow things down. It's not a race. We're not in a race to 95 years old, because the only thing that happens when you're 95 is you transition.
Exactly.
So slow it down and enjoy the ride.
Exactly. Right. But you know what I have to say, and I think you're the same way, but I could be wrong, but it's taken us time to get there. It's not like we've always known this or anything like that.
Absolutely.
And yes. To implement it. Maybe at some point we knew it, but we didn't know how to incorporate it into our own lives. It's taken us work. It's not been an easy path. We've done the work.
Absolutely. It does take work. And for people that think, oh, this guy or this, Pam and Chuck, they just seem to have it all. Whoa. There's days that I don't feel like I have anything. And the days can be a struggle. But I will also share with the listeners, it is 100% worth it.
I agree.
100% worth it. And I would encourage anybody that is thinking, do I want to do this work? The rewards are endless.
Not only do it, call Chuck to have him do it with you. He's an awesome coach. Okay. What's the most important thing you've learned through your journey?
I think to stay present probably is to stay present moment. Now, the only time that things don't get so good is when you start thinking beyond, because then all of a sudden it opens up all the doors of what could happen. And we all know 98% of what could happen never happens. Maybe 99% never happens. We just have a way to conjure it up, like how bad it could be and all these terrible things that could happen and what might happen. So I would probably say just learning to stay present moment and enjoy exactly where my feet are. 100%.
I love because you're so right. And I never thought of it this way. Right now, right here, if you look at it, it's perfect. There's nothing else. There's nothing before. There's nothing after. And we're safe. We're good. We're healthy. We're happy. Okay. It is all about gratitude. What are you most grateful for today?
What am I most grateful for today? I would say some of the very special relationships that I have in my life. My family. I love my family. And I'm grateful for who I am and the opportunities that are here because of who I am.
Can you imagine yourself saying that 10, 15 years ago?
No chance.
Oh my God, you just made my day. That's beautiful.
I am. That's been one of the hardest things for me ever to say, even to look in the mirror and say that I liked myself, but now to say that I'm grateful for who I am.
Yeah, that's big.
It is. It's very big.
Sure Sheila gets a link to this podcast.
I will definitely email that to her. Yes, because she is such a special woman, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that I am so grateful for her. Because truthfully, without her and without my wife and my girls, I wouldn't be here.
Well, there's a reason you have so many amazing women and people surrounding you.
It's because if it wasn't for them, I don't like to think about it, but it is what it is. And I guess I can say I'm somewhat proud to say that I got through that.
Yeah, you should be proud.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that haven't gotten through it.
Yeah, and it's dark. It's a dark place to be. So to crawl out of that is not easy.
Yes. So it's
okay. Well, I'm glad you did.
Yes, thank you.
So these videos are all about sharing. What's your number one tip to the viewers to live their best lives?
Embrace who you are. Embrace your unique gifts, whatever they may be. Your unique gifts are unique to you, and embrace them. Don't look to somebody else and say, oh, I wish I was a doctor. I wish I was a lawyer because they make so much money. I wish I was this. I wish I was that. Because somewhere somebody is saying they wish they were you.
Ooh,
embrace who you are. And I think we have that. And I learned that a lot, Pam, because I always thought it'd be great to be somebody else too, until I realized just how great it is to be who I am.
Good ones here.
And enjoy every moment.
Those are some great nuggets you just shared. We're going to have to highlight them at the end. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Turn the news off and tune into life, tune into who you are, tune into your soul, what your soul needs.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I want more people to have access to you. So what's the best way for our viewers to contact you?
Probably through my website, I would say thecompassionateconnection.com.
Thecompassionateconnection.com.
Yes. And you can do a contact me. That comes right to my email. And I'm always open for new friendships and to support people on their journeys, because it's, I think, as our friend Clint Malarchuk said, the two greatest days of your life are the day you were born and the day you realize why.
So good.
And when he told me that, he brought me to tears, and I was like, gosh, Clint, here's two goalies talking and you're making one of them cry. But yeah, life is just really, really wonderful. And when you realize why you're here, it's a game changer. It changes everything.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people just to take a moment or several moments, whatever it takes, to figure out why you're here.
Thank you so much for this. I know it's going to help a lot of people, and you and I are going to stay in touch.
That'll be wonderful. I'd love that. And if I can do anything to support you, all you have to do is ask.
I really appreciate that. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.